This is really getting old. Really, really getting old. We had like almost 9 streams in a row, like 9 streams in a row, no interruptions. Everything was good. And then the last 3 streams that we've done, we've had this nonsense happen 3 times in a row, or in 3 streams in a row now. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But good old YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for screwing with us again. I got to tell you what, it's like I know, like with my videos, my views are way, way down on my videos. Um, and like my topic of today's video, after like 3 hours, I had 1,500 views. That's all YouTube. That's all that, they're not putting out the notifications. And I wasn't talking about China at all. So, yeah, I know it was like we weren't really talking about anything, that would cause them to do that, but whatever. It's all fun. It's all fun. So anyway, you know what? Let's talk about this. So let's see if they do it again. I was talking to my friend in Canada today, and I want you guys to think about this. Yeah, don't say yeah, right. Um, Talking to a friend of mine in Canada today, and they're getting ready for their next lockdown. They're going to be locking them down again, and they are basically. And I want you guys to think about this. Okay, I want you to think about this. She was saying they're going to go into stores and they're going to deem what is necessary and what is they like reopen the Walmarts, right? If you guys remember, and I had the arrows, you had to supposedly follow the arrows. They had certain sections of the store taped off that you couldn't go and buy certain things. Now my question would be, who are they, or who, first of all, who is they that is dictating what is essential and what is not essential? And who are you to tell me that if I need that or I want this, that it's not essential, that I can't buy it? Okay. I have a huge, huge issue with that. And they did that. They did that with growing. Remember that with all the stuff for the gardening and all that type of stuff. They did that with that area. They cut that whole thing off, and it was non-essential, and you couldn't even get that type of stuff. Remember that? I want you guys to remember that because I sure do. And so she's telling me that they're, obviously, again, dictating who is an essential worker and who is not an essential worker. Well, who makes that decision as well? Okay. And isn't all jobs important? Isn't people's right to be able to take care of their families? Isn't that important? I think it is, regardless of what your job is. Yeah, they are the government. You can trust them. MG Toe said that. That's funny. Yeah, here's the thing, and this is what me and her were going back in this conversation. And I said, there's a lot more of us than there are of them. Why are we allowing ourselves to continuously be manipulated, told what to do? I just saw an article today, and it was talking about, the virus, and it was saying that these 5 states have the majority of the new increase in cases. 5 states accounted for 44% of the new cases. Michigan, New York, Florida, and I don't remember the other two. But guess what state was not in there? Texas was not in there. Okay, isn't that interesting? Thought that was quite interesting. Um, you know, what it comes down to, like what I told her when we were talking back and forth today, it's manipulation, it's fear, it's bullying, is exactly what they're doing. And the I was listening to a psychologist talking today about the effect of all this isolation is having on our kids. Okay. Even my grown daughter who's in college and has to, adhere by these certain guidelines and do certain things like when she's working, she's got to wear a mask all the time when she's working and all this other stuff. It's insane. It is insane. Okay. And we are allowing it to happen. We are allowing places to dictate what is okay and what is not okay. And it's not necessarily the businesses, guys. I want you to remember that. It's these government officials and their mandates saying, well, you as a restaurant owner or you as a small business, if you allow people to come in here and not have a mask on and we catch you, we're going to fine you. So they're terrified of getting these huge fines. So they're enforcing these rules that these government officials, oh yeah, who by the way supposedly work for us. They work for us, right? But we're allowing them to manipulate us to do what they want to do. And it's continuously happening. And it baffles my mind that more people have not stood up and said enough is enough. So one of the big topics, obviously, that there's the big talk tomorrow. Hey, Patriot James, I know you just have to be careful, brother. Just know we are all figuring out the algorithms, and Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas said this week, there's time to go after. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on, I want to finish reading that, what he said here. Come on, what is this thing doing? Hold on, there we go. It's time to go after social media for suppressing free speech. You're absolutely right. And it absolutely is time to go after the social media outlets for basically dictating what can be said and what cannot be said. Absolutely. Thank you very much for the donation as well. I really do appreciate that. That's very nice of you. I never follow the stay-at-home order either. Yeah, the MG Toe said that. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. Since day one, I go where I want to go. I do what I want to do. I'm not going to have some government official dictate to me what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to go on my vacations. If I want to go to the store and I want to buy something, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy something. That's bottom line, And but again, we are allowing these people to tell us what we can and cannot do. And when, places that, especially like restaurants and stuff like that, if they don't follow the rules according to whatever mandate that these people put in, they're getting in trouble. And, and that's not fair to them. They're just trying to run a business. Ace Maduro, they shut down mom and pop shops where might only be a few people that can social distance easily and enforced to go to a packed Wally World where everybody else has to go. Yep, real smart. Yeah, and again, they shut down all the small businesses where there's not huge crowds to force everybody, like you said, to have to go to Wally World and, where everybody's at. And, here's another thing that they've done too. And I want you to think about this because I know for me personally, as a night person, I like to, I've worked nights for years and years and years. So I definitely am a night person. A lot of times I like to go shop 11:30, midnight and stuff like that. I'll be like, hey, let's go. And me and Heather used to do it all the time. Let's go to the store. She'll be like, okay. And you go in and there's nobody there, which is awesome. Well, now they've restricted the hours. So now in those times, those stores are closed now. They're not open 24 hours a day anymore. And that sucks. I'll tell you right now, that sucks. To me, it does. Because I liked to shop that time. Because why? Because nobody's there. The workers are stacking up the shelves with whatever they're doing. So I don't understand now why they haven't reopened them to 24 hours again. But again, it's restricting your movements, controlling what you're doing, where you can go, when you can go, what times you can go. Like she was telling me up in Canada, she goes, it's just a matter of time before they put up checkpoints, to make sure people are doing what they're told to do. And again, so at what point do we say enough is enough? Now, one of the points that I wanted to bring up, again, guys, we're at 661 in the chat, 211 on the thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. And thank you ahead of time for doing that. I do appreciate that. So thank you very much. Also, again, it really does help with the algorithms. So the more interaction we have, the better. So, it helps us push us up higher in the rankings. So I thank you for that reason as well. Third reason is, of course, I like to see a lot of thumbs up. And I got a point I want to bring up here in just a second, guys. So hang with me. Also, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. Real quickly, today is the last day of my sale on my website for the Legacy freeze-dried foods. So if you go to preppernurse1.com, You click on store, it drops down. You will see legacy foods. You click on that. What we have available is there. Definitely take advantage of that. That is going to end at midnight West Coast time tonight. So if you're on the East Coast, you got to like 3 in the morning. But midnight West Coast time, today is the last day for the sale. When you check out, 20% will come off automatically off your bill. So the larger your bill, obviously you save more. Do you think Walmart will ever be open 24/7 again? I don't know, Ruth Phillips. I don't know if they'll do it again or not. But okay, I will do that, Misha. I'm not going to read your comment because I really don't want to be talking about that, but I will definitely do that. Thank you. But again, also on my website, we have the Forefathers, which is the CBD and hemp store. The savings is always the same on there. If you click on their logo, it'll take you to their website. If you make a purchase there, 15% off if you use the discount code PrepperNurse1, and it's the number 1, not O-N-E, when you check out over there. So definitely take advantage of that as well. All right. So I want to bring up this point as well. They can't have checkpoints on all roadblocks. No, absolutely not. But what they can do, CMI, what they could do, major roads of travel, they absolutely could set up checkpoints. They absolutely could. In and out of cities, major highways. A lot of people travel major highways all the time. Can they do checkpoints on every back road that's out there? Nope, absolutely not. Can people still get around that? Absolutely they can. But they could do it with fear of arrest and persecution, by the government officials if they've put in a mandate that you can't travel after a certain time and stuff like that. So those things absolutely can happen. But no, they can't put roadblocks up everywhere. But boy, they can sure restrict travel of where you're going to go and where you're not going to go with those checkpoints. So I want to talk about this for tomorrow. Biden is talking about he's going to do some executive orders tomorrow, okay, for the G control, right? So I have one thing to say to Biden: shall not be infringed. I don't know if he understands what that means, but I don't care what executive orders they put in or whatever. It's what they're really trying to hammer down on. And this always kills me. Now, I want you to realize this, guys. This has been something that has been going on before we were a country here in the United States. So people were doing this before we were the United States of America. It has been happening for more than 250 years since we have been. People make their own, G's, right? They make their own. They're really trying to lock down on that. Now, I don't know how you're going to plan on doing that and control it and regulate it. I'd be really interested to see how they're going to do that. But again, what part of shall not be infringed do they not understand? Okay. I have if you want to call it God-given right in this country, the Second Amendment says the right to bear arms, it shall not be infringed. So I don't understand what people are not understanding about that. I don't care what nonsense that they come up with. The only way you stop a bad guy with a gun is to have a good guy with a gun. When you disarm the law-abiding citizens, you make them criminals, because a lot of people are not going to give up what they have. They're just not going to. I'm telling you right now. And so now you've made them a criminal, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And when somebody comes and tries to take your stuff, or somebody tries to hurt you, we've had a rash. It was I was actually over at Mom and Becky's for a few minutes earlier today, and there has been a rash of carjackings in and around the Rochester area. Okay. Wow, crime is up. Hard to believe. I know it's very difficult to believe, since everything is, sunshine and roses and the economy's booming and everything is so great, that we've had an increase in crime. But unfortunately, we've had an increase in crime. So right now what they're doing is they're following people when they stop and they get out of their car. They're robbing them at gunpoint, or they're doing where they bump into you at slow speeds, like a fender bender. What do most people do if they have a fender bender? They get out of their car, they go see what's going on. They're being robbed at gunpoint. Okay. It was a 79-year-old man just got killed. And it's like, so the police were talking about this, the carjackings and the being robbed at gunpoint. Hey, Margie O, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. She says, keep it up. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, you know, this is where we're heading. Now, if you can't defend yourself, if you have somebody comes at you like that, if you have your own weapon and you're able to defend yourself, that would be a huge deterrent for a lot of these people. But as the government officials continue, let's talk about Chicago. Let's talk about New York City. Two of the places in this country with the most strict gun control. And those two places, I think, are very high in the list of, you know, yeah, an armed society is a polite society. You're absolutely correct on that. Absolutely correct. Hey, Christy Martinez. My friend just lost her income property today. She could no longer keep up the mortgage payments when the tenant failed to pay rent for 7 months. I'm sorry to hear that. And that's another thing that is happening. And we have talked about that. And you're going to have these rich investors are going to come in and they're going to scoop up these properties and they're going to get them for pennies on the dollar. And it's almost like it's being done on purpose. So here, this poor person loses their income because the tenant didn't have to pay squat, not getting any help from the government because the government is playing their games. Very, very sad. Very, very sad. All right, let's do this real quick, guys, because I know that it's 8:41 already. Let's do egg count real quick. Hey, Mary Lapp, this is out of control government. State rights need to come into play. 32 states need to sign on it to overturn the feds. Yeah, it's the whole thing is absolutely nuts. The whole thing right now with everything that's going on, it's a snowball of nonsense as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to do the eggs, guys. So everybody's putting them up anyway. Let's see. Give you guys a minute to get your guesses. All right. If you had the same exact guess as Billy the Kid Norwood with 10 eggs, that is what we got today. We got 10 eggs. So not bad. Not complaining. Chickens are doing great. Very, very healthy. Everybody looks good. And, I got to tell you what happened here tonight, too. I was like, so every night I go out and lock up the birds. So I looked out in the yard and I didn't see anybody out in the yard, right? And so I go out there and I always like glance around, make sure nobody's out in the yard, don't see nobody. Okay, great. So I lock up the close the door, lock it up for him for the night. And I come back in the house. So of course I took Miss Hella out so we didn't have any accidents tonight and didn't have her jumping up here trying to make me take her out when my stream started. And the 10 is that the broken one counts as part of the 10. Yes. Yep. So I take her out and I look into the run and there's one of the hens is out there running around. I'm like, how did I miss her? So I had to get the key, go out, open the hatch, shoo her in. She jumped in there, closed it back up, locked it back up, but I never saw her. So I was like, man, that would have been bad. That would have, if she's out there by herself with no protection, predator could get her very, very easy. Very, very easy. So, but, yep. So that's what happened with that tonight. So I was like, oh my God. Yeah, and the funny thing is I scan the yard every time. And I don't know where she was ducked down and sitting. I just did not see her. But so I got her in, everybody's in. Because I normally, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go right into the coop and I'll go into their main area and I do a head count, make sure everybody's there. So, but yeah. The house prices in our town have increased. For a house worth $150,000 a year ago or 2 years ago is now $800,000 plus. Well, Country Girl, I'm going to tell you exactly why that's happening. Okay. You have had a mass exodus. Do I talk to your? I talk to my chickens all the time. If you guys watch the videos and I'll go out there and I'll be like, hey ladies, I talk to my chickens all the time. So anyway, the reason that the housing prices have gone up, you've had a max exodus out of the cities. Anybody that had any kind of money got out of the cities because they realized what a nightmare that was with everything that has happened in this last year. And so they, Yeah, she was wearing feathered camo. Right, exactly. Eric Johnson just said that. But so they've gotten out of the cities and they're going to suburbia and they're going into the country, and whatever people that they're paying exorbitant prices for properties to get away from that refinement and and being locked in like that. That's why they've done it. So but yeah, it is absolutely crazy, the housing prices, how much things have gone up, and what they're saying things are worth now. It I've said this before, and again I'll say it. There's no way what is going on right now is sustainable. At some point, there's going to be a reckoning, either be it a financial collapse or something to that effect. It cannot continue the way it is. It just can't. You know, Housing here is up 30%, 7% a year. And again, you look at the average people that have lost jobs. I think it's still like 8.5 million people are out of jobs less, even though they just had these like latest greatest job numbers. Remember that, which I'm not buying it, but um, you know, you still have over 8 million people less working now than there were a year ago. So where all this money's coming from for people to be able to buy houses and stuff like that, I have absolutely no idea. But again, I'll bet if you want to borrow against your home, it wouldn't be worth that. LOL. No, of course it wouldn't be. If you wanted to, yeah, if the prices are ridiculous with some of these places. Yeah, it's just well, you look at the cost of everything. Like I plan on doing an addition this year, but the cost of lumber has absolutely skyrocketed. It's going to cost me a lot more than I had anticipated and budgeted for. So it might have to be delayed a little bit. I'm definitely going to get it started this year. I'm going to get the pylons in and make sure I got all that going. I'd like to have it dried in before the snow flies if I can, because then I could work on the inside through the winter. That wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to do the addition this year. I mean, like I said, somebody saying lumber prices are up 30%. Yeah, it's gone crazy. It's gone like a 2x4. A good example. 2x4 last year, piece of crap pine 2x4 was what, 250, 275 per board. It's like $8 now. That's more than two times the price. So it's yeah, you know, it's yeah. Even with the military discount at Lowe's, it's still not cheap. No, it's not. Nope, it is insane. Absolutely insane. So, and the prices are only going to get higher. Yep, yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with that at all. But we can't keep going the way we're going and think that things are going to be better. It's not. That's not realistic. Not realistic at all. I think we're in for some real hard times. Moving forward. And again, so last year after COVID, there was a rash of lumber mill fires. Well, that one of the things that I'm thinking I might do is 3/4 inch treated is $57 in Houston. Wow, one sheet. That's nuts. That's ridiculously high. What I may end up doing is I may contact the Amish and see what they'll do. And depending on, because they do a lot, they mill all their own stuff. So it might be a cheaper route to go with them. And I'm going to tell you what, if I do go with the Amish, I'm going to tell you what, not it'll be built a lot better. Country Girl said plywood went from $30 to $90 a sheet. Yeah, that's insane. That is insane. So how do you afford to do anything? How do you afford to you know build stuff and get things going? It's absolutely nuts. Same price for 3/4 inch plywood near Raleigh. Wow. Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. But I like I said, I may have to look at even if I just get a price from them and say, what would you charge me to build this? And I have the blueprint so they could look at that. And Ed, do you have a lumber sawmill? Well, Greg has a sawmill up behind me. Greg does have one. So But see, the Amish, what they would do if we agree on a price, they would come in like within inside of a week, they'd be done. They just get a bunch of guys come in here and bang it out. That's what they do. They're hardworking people. A lot of people will say negative things about the Amish, but I'll tell you what, never been afraid of hard work. They're master carpenters, and when they do something, they do it right. So that's how they roll. They don't screw around. So, but yeah, I was looking at the price of everything, and I'm like, oh my god, it's going to cost me a lot more than I thought. You know, so I have to really I have to look at what I'm going to do as far as I want to get that obviously going and get it started. So we'll just have to go from that, and just see what happens. But like I said, if I can get it dried in at least, um, get it framed up, outside on, get a roof on it, then I can do in the inside when I can. So do not try to price gouge you. No, they don't. Hey, Patriot James. I have to send my clients to Lowe's so they can see for themselves on the increase in lumber. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure people are trying to say that things don't cost that much. I'm sure they do. But yeah, and it is absolutely crazy how much things have gone up. And it amazes me. What amazes me too, you look at the cost of pay. The cost of pay has not gone up. I saw a thing today, and I want you to think about this. And I'm not sure what the facility was, because there was like I was like, first of all, I haven't worked as a nurse in 3 years. Okay, February was my third year since I retired from nursing. Now I still have my license, so if anybody was going to ask, do I still have my nursing license? Yes, I do. I actually just renewed it, because again, you never know, right? So when I was working as a nurse, I made decent money. I'm not going to complain. I made absolutely decent money. I saw a thing today for, I don't know what company it was, and they wanted to start nurses out. And I'm like, no wonder they got an ad in there, because they're never going to hire people for that rate. But they wanted to give nurses $13.50 an hour. And I want you to think about this. I can go right now, if I wanted to Arby's, and I can make $14 an hour here in New York. Why would I now? And I want you to think about this, guys. When you're a nurse, what happens is when I accept a floor, and let's say I'm working a night shift, and I accept a floor, I do the drug count, because you do your drug count with the other nurses. You accept the floor. Now it's your responsibility. These people's lives are in your hand, right? So if I screw up, if I make a mistake, and it costs somebody their lives, it's a big deal. Okay. And you're going to try to give me only $13.50 an hour when I can go to Arby's and make roast beef sandwiches for $14 an hour, have zero responsibility. Why would you work for that? You know what I mean? There doesn't make any kind of sense. Now, that's not normal pay. I will tell you that right now. That is not normal pay. But, it is, that to me, that's insanity. That's nothing. That and I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm too good to work for that price. That's not what I'm saying. But when you have the amount of education that we had to go through, the training that we go through, the years of experience, that always definitely comes into play. When I would go, when I did some nursing homework and stuff like that, my years of experience goes into play, because they don't have to train me. Right now, even after 3 years of not working in a facility, I could walk into any one of these facilities, and do a med pass and do it pretty darn good. Okay. I have no problem with that. Do treatments, do the med pass, take care of things, do the paperwork that I need to do. But the thing is, you have so much responsibility as a nurse. Again, somebody codes on you, you better know what to do. You better know how to handle yourself. That comes with experience. A green nurse right out of nursing school, they don't know nothing. They think they know something, but they don't. Trust me, they don't. So, Ed, they would pay us minimum wage if they could. Yep. Church of POS. I like that. That's pretty funny. I like that name. But yes, No, that's not a CNA, Randy Romines. That was not a CNA. That was for an LPN. That was for an LPN. Now you're lucky is I don't know what they do now, but I know back 15, 20 years ago, as a CNA, you were lucky to make $10 an hour. If you made $10 an hour, you were doing pretty good. You'd been there a while. So yeah, I mean, I know that pay's gone up, substantially since then as well. But yeah, I got paid $4 an hour in 1987 working for McDonald's at the age of 16. I remember back, and I'll tell you right now, I was in high school. I was working full time it was Bell's in Caledonia, New York. Worked at Bell's. It's something else completely now. Bell's is completely gone. But I was working at this Bell's in Caledonia, and I was bringing home after taxes. I'll never forget this. I was bringing home 116, 117 bucks a week. That's what that was my bring home. And man, I was like, woo, ready to go. Let's go party. Yeah, but that was, I was super excited about that back then. Making 116, 117 after taxes, crazy. I look back at that now and I'm like, oh my god, you know. Uh, right out of high school, I went in the military, and I think we were making what 14,000 a year in the military. So yeah, about $20 an hour for LPNs here in North Carolina. Yeah, we no the normal price for an LPN now is definitely much higher than that. I don't know what this company was thinking, offering that. That's a joke. That's an insult. Was what 1350 for an LPN is an insult. So that's just my take on it. But yeah, no, there's you can make pretty decent money up here, depending on what you're doing. Yeah, LPNs. It's I know when I did Medicaid cases for years, and they never increased the pay and all that. They did increase the pay if you were doing peds. That did get increased, but in a 10-year period that I did Medicaid, the price never changed. So there was no benefits, there was no time and a half. So no matter if you worked 10 hours or you worked 50 hours, the rate of pay was XYZ per hour. It was really good. I was making really good money. I have no complaints on that at all back then. But every year, everything else went up. Health insurance went up. Car insurance was, that fluctuates. But cable, internet, all that goes up every single year. All those things were going up, but our pay was staying the same. And when you're working so many hours, there's only so many hours you can work. So yeah, that was a big part of it. Big part of it. But let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see what guys are saying here. Wife is an RN in North Carolina, makes about $38 an hour. Yeah, RNs are. I'm going to tell you what. And if you're a traveling nurse, you can make a ton. They make a ton of money. They do very, very well. Yeah, RNs definitely make more money, but it's. I never wanted to be a supervisor. I never wanted to. And I'm going to tell you what. They used to ask me, Ed, why don't you go on and get your RN? And the reason that I didn't want to ever get my RN, and I told them, and a lot of RNs would get pissed off at me, but they knew I was right. I said, I don't want to be a pencil pusher. When you become an RN, they make you a supervisor, and now you're running around the facility doing paperwork. That's what you do. You do some assessments, but you're not really dealing with your patients. I liked the interaction of working with my patients. That was important to me. That's why I became a nurse. So that's how that worked. But yeah, I never wanted to be in that position where now you're the supervisor and now you have a ton of other responsibilities, but you're spending your entire time pushing a pencil, and that was not why I got into nursing. So. Got to go. Too much nursing, not enough prepping. Okay, James Carroll. Bye bye. See ya. Have a nice day. Go ahead and watch somebody else. Thank you for announcing it, though. I really, that makes all the difference in the world. Thank goodness you let us all know why you were leaving. So that's fantastic. Thank you very much for that. That really makes a difference. That was all I did as an RN in a long-term care. That's why I had to get into the hospital. I couldn't stand doing not doing patient care. Yeah. Now, RNs in the hospitals, you like that, guys? Thank you for announcing it. I've said this before, and let me reiterate this again, just for people that really don't understand. Okay. This is not a train station. This is not a train station. You do not have to announce your departure. If you feel the need to go and leave, be my guest. You don't have to announce it to everybody. We don't need to know. You just go, leave, go watch somebody else. We're having a great conversation. We're talking nursing, a lot of nursing questions in the comments. So we're going to talk about it. But yeah, no, RNs in the hospitals, they do a ton of patient care. Now, if they're in the hospitals, yes. Nursing homes, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And unfortunately, the workload for the RNs in the hospitals is ridiculous. The amount of patients that they have to take care of. And when you're talking about compromised people that are in there for surgeries, there's always complications that could happen. So you got to be observant of everything and pay attention. Of course, then you're going to see what you guys don't get. You don't understand this. Anybody that's not in the medical field, you get your clingy, needy patients. You get your seekers, and what I call seekers are your drug seekers. If they can get their pain meds every 4 hours. I'm going to tell you right now, when it hits that 4 hour on the mark, they're hitting that light because they want their next pill. Hey, Asif, I'll stay until the end and then we'll turn it off the lights before I leave tonight. There you go. Awesome, man. Thank you very much. And thank you very much thank you for the donation as well. But yeah, I mean, you get all kinds of patients. You'll get patients that are chill, easy to take care of. They're awesome. Okay. You'll get your very needy patients that you got to coddle and hold their hand, and that's okay. That's all part of it. Me personally, like the seekers, never could stand seekers. They just piss me right off because I can't stand that. I don't like that personality type. I get it. If you're in pain, you're in pain, but you're not in pain exactly at the 4 hour mark because now you can get your next pill. You need to push beyond that and try to get it to last longer. We had a guy that I took care of, and I can't say names, and I won't even say what facility it was. But this guy actually, we would have phones on us, and so that management could contact us or another nurse could contact us, and so you would have your line because you're out on the floor. You're not sitting behind the desk. You're out on the floor, and so this guy, he knew that number, and he would call you up and say, hey, Ed, I'm due for my pain pill. Can I get it now? Now, I will tell you this right now. If I was not busy, I would be like, dude, yep, I'll be right there. Bang, I'll get it for you. No problem. But if I'm busy, he's not. And I used to tell him, you are one of 52 patients that I am taking care of. One of 52. I have other responsibilities as well. If I can give it to you sooner, I will. And then he'd get all pissed off and be like, you're effing with me. You're trying to screw with me. I'm calling the supervisor. And I'd say, go ahead. Knock yourself out. I don't care if you call the supervisor. If I'm busy, I'm going to take care of my other patients that I'm taking care of first, and I will get to you as soon as I possibly can. That's how it works. You are not the only patient, and because you bark the loudest, you think that I'm going to kiss your behind. Doesn't happen. Never was like that, but that's just me. Some people would give into that. I never did. That's just not my style. An RN administration can have as much contact with patients and nurses as she chooses. Oh yeah, well, in administration they can, and 9 times out of 10 they choose not to. I don't know what that was. They choose not to 9 times out of 10. I'll give you another good example of something. So every, working nursing homes throughout the years, and the state would be coming. Oh my God, the state's coming, right? So they would know. And see, this was what was BS. Okay, they knew the state was coming. They may not know exactly what day, but it's going to be this week, some point. The state's coming in. All your administration, all your nurse managers, they're all out there on the floor. They're feeding people. They're taking care of stuff, and stuff like this. And I'll never forget. This was like the funniest thing I ever heard. Another nurse told me this. So the state's in there, and and here's the nurse manager feeding a patient, right? And the patient says to the nurse manager, "How come you're out here? You're normally never out here. Why are you out here now?" And the state person obviously heard that. I just thought that was freaking hilarious because they're putting on the show. Put the show on for the state, make it look like, oh, we're all pitching in and we're all doing our part. No, they're not. They're going to meetings and they're hiding in their offices. Not all, not all. I've had some fantastic nurse managers that would get out there on the floor and they would bust their butts and they would work hard. But then, unfortunately, the majority of them that I dealt with would hide in their office, were dressed to the nines, and you never saw them do patient care or help with anything. So, just how it goes. Just how it goes. Yep, you saw all the people coming out of the woodwork like cockroaches. That's trauma nurse BG just said that. You're 100% right. Unbelievable the number of people. All of a sudden you'd be like, wow, we're fully staffed today. How did that happen? Because that never happens. You're never fully staffed. But I will tell you what, if the state's coming, you're fully staffed. So, oh, I could sit here all day, guys, and tell you nursing stories. Unbelievable. More than 30 years of experience in the nursing field. I could tell you stuff. You'd be like, no way. But yeah, it's interesting. It is a lot of games. A lot of games get played. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, and this is serious, at the end of the day, who suffers? The patients suffer. And that's not right. It's really not. That's not why a lot of us get into nursing. We get into nursing because we want to take care of people. We want to help people. But, when you're not given that opportunity, you're overworked, understaffed, it's tough. It's tough, but it is what it is. And, that's how it goes. And that's why the burnout rate in nursing is as high as it is. It's very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So, Ed, do you have more potatoes around? Happy homesteader. Yeah, I just picked up a bunch of potatoes that we're gonna plant in one of the raised beds this year. So, my nurse manager in my office fills in when any regular nurse takes pay time off. Oh, that's very cool, man. Now, Asif is just saying that. That's awesome. That is an exception rather than a rule. I will tell you that right now. That is not the norm. And sadly, the other way should not be the norm, but it is. So, oh, she's at Kathy wants to know something about HIPAA. Yeah, you can't give out information, unfortunately, a lot of times. Like we would get patients, I'll give you an example of something, okay? Uh, when HIV first came out and HIV was a huge thing, you would get patients that would come in and they couldn't come right out and tell you, yeah, this person's HIV positive, but you know, like for the AIDS, we couldn't tell the AIDS, right? Supposedly tell the AIDS. Um, but what I would do, and I'll be honest, this is exactly what I would do, is I would say this CNA's name was Bonnie, and she was my head CNA, and I would say, Bonnie, are you taking care of Mr. Smith? And she'd be like, yeah, I am. I would just say, make sure you use your precautions. And so that way, it was my way of telling her that he had something that she could possibly get. So she needed to make sure. Now, should she be using her precautions on all of her patients? Yes, she should. But is that what happens? No, it's not. So, but it's that's just how it went. And so you would let your staff know without letting them know, if you get my meaning. Just because you're trying to protect your people, so. Has anyone heard any updates on the people that were supposedly exposed to Ebola, or was that a big nothing burger? You know what? I haven't really heard anything else about that, to be honest with you. So if that is something or not something, I honestly couldn't tell you what the case is on that. I have no idea because I haven't heard anything. That's when I quit the medical profession, age 78, 79. I walked away. You know what? And again, personal choice, absolutely. I understand and I get it. I do. Um, I've worked with AIDS patients. You just have to be careful. You know, I tried to find info and can't. Okay, well, I don't know what they're doing then. But Ed, can you blame them for hitting that light? Andrea Schultz, it really depends. Okay, if there's a legitimate need and you truly need something, I don't have a problem with it. But you are going to have people that are pushing that light every 5 seconds for ridiculous stuff. And you don't have the staff and you don't have the time to coddle every single person like that. So, luckily, those people are the exception rather than the rule. Most people are pretty decent and they understand. And it's funny too, being in the profession as long as I have and dealing with the different things that I had, the person that was more understanding, that was appreciative of what you were doing, you would have a tendency to take more time to take care of their needs when they needed something. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? Because it's because they weren't a pain in the butt. But when you had somebody that was on that light constantly for ridiculous nonsense, constantly, you did the work that you had to do, but you did it very begrudgingly. And, but it's a big, big difference. The hospitals cut way back on staffing. It is dangerous. Cat's Meow just said that. Well, it's always comes down, unfortunately, to money. They don't want to pay nobody. I know when I was working in one facility, and I'll just give you another example of something. Okay, I worked night shift, and so we had 4 floors. Okay, and so like on my floor there was 2 wings. So I was on this one side, 52 patients. Other nurses over in this other unit, 52 patients, and then we both would have either 2 or 3 CNAs. That's it. That's for the CNAs doing rounds, you know, whatever they have to do. If whoever they got to get up, like if somebody had dialysis in the morning, you had to get them up, get them changed, get them dressed, get them in their wheelchair, whatever the case may be. That's just as an example. Okay. Now, what would happen would in this facility that I worked in, if a nurse called off down on the next floor, what they made us do is we would have to cover. So during the night, let's say each hour, another nurse would have to go and be on that other floor for an hour. So now I'm off my floor. If somebody needs something on my floor, I'm not there. They're going to have to wait until I get back. That's an hour, right? Then when it came to med pass, what they would do is they would have 2 of you go down and you would split the unit and do the med pass, and then of course you still had to go and do your med pass. I mean, just it was insanity. But they didn't want to hire anybody else to cover those type of shifts when that happened. And people call off. It happens, okay? And it just made it much, much harder on the rest of the staff. But like I said, they don't care. Hospitals cut staff due to lack of patients when the elective procedures were cut last May and June. Okay. But there's still people going into the hospitals all the time. So, things are always going to happen. For being a nurse, you have an excellent idea for first aid supplies to have in your preps. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Ed, were male patients more of a pain in the butt than the female patients are equal? It would really depend. You know, when you're dealing with an older generation, the older generation had a tendency, men-wise, to treat women with less respect. Okay, so but for me, I never had a problem because early in my nursing career, you didn't wear different color scrubs; you wore white. So they always thought I was the doctor. They always all the patients thought I was the doctor. So I would come in and I'd take care of me, like, oh, thank you, doctor. So they'd always be really super nice to me. And no matter how many times I told them, no, I'm not the doctor, I'm the nurse, they always still thought you were the doctor. But they would be more respectful to me anyway because I was a man. And if that makes any sense. But you know, it really depends on the patient, their upbringing, how they treated people. I mean, if you're an a-hole in life and then you go into a nursing home, do you think you're going to get better? You think you're going to be a better person? No, you're still going to be an a-hole. That's just how it works, unfortunately. So anyway, we're running out of time here. Get going on nursing here, and we just went nuts. But anyway, so let's do this. We are Legion because we are many. And before we do that, let's do this really quick too. Another shot of thumbs up here. We're at 825 in the chat. We're 447 on the thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to do that, please, to show support for the channel. And thank you again. So I appreciate that. Also, it really does help with the algorithms as well. Hey, Patriot James, my dentist thanked me for making them laugh and not being a whiny pain in the butt. Drug seekers was driving them nuts. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I am sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, and think about what a miserable job that has to be being a dentist. Really, quickly, how miserable that has to be. You deal with pain constantly. People are in pain. They're not coming to you because they're happy. They're coming to you because they're in pain and they want that pain to stop. So that's tough. That's a tough job. One of the highest suicide rate jobs out there, dentists. Just so you guys know that too. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's true. All right, let's do this. Where's everybody from tonight? We are Legion. We are many. We are all over the world. Where are you all from tonight? I'm sorry. I'm just rambling on here, and I apologize. Let's see. Montreal, Canada. Ontario, Canada. Grand Island, Nebraska. Southern Oregon. Maryland, North Carolina. Christmas Valley, Oregon. Fort Myers, Florida. Apollo, Pennsylvania. Dublin, Ohio. South of Syracuse. Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. Leesburg, Alberta. New Jersey, California, Tampa, Ohio. Let's see. We have New Mexico, Dayton, Ohio, Albion, Nebraska, Hudson Valley, New York, Missouri, Clement, Florida, California, Western New York, New Hampshire, Las Vegas, Michigan, and Upper Peninsula. Very nice. The UP. Endicott, New York, Edgewater, Arizona, or Edgewater, Florida, and then Arizona was under there, sorry. South Australia, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Kingman, Arizona, Nowhere, Oklahoma. Still, that's one of my favorites. Let's see. Albany Bay, dental hygienist. Albuquerque, New Mexico, Orlando, Florida, Seattle, Victoria, Texas, South Carolina, Beech Grove, Indiana, Texas again. We have London, Spokane, Washington, Missouri, Idaho, Gatlin, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Bad River, Wisconsin. Very cool. Killspell, Montana, Griswold, Connecticut, Cornersville, Indiana, Washington, Nevada, Ulster Park, New York, Missouri and the Ozark, Vancouver, Canada, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Daphne, Alabama, Mercersburg, Pennsylvania. We have Zimbabwe, if that's true. That'd be cool if it was. Eastern Tennessee. We have Kansas. The egg count today, Gigglebug, was 10. Let's see. There was Kansas. So yeah, guys, we're again all over the world, all over the country. Huge family, huge network of people, and again, if we organize, network, and work together, there's no stopping us with what we can do. There really isn't. So that's what we need to be focusing on. We really do. We need to be focusing on that. I want to give a couple shout outs really quickly. Magic Prepper, great channel. Follow him. Angry Prepper, obviously down in New York City. Follow him as well. And there's a couple things I want to talk about too, real quick. So we're going to run over because that does happen because I get chatty. But there's two things I want to talk about really, really quickly. Okay. Um, so we'll get into that in a second. But also, Bizariza Jizza, follow his channel. He's got a great series going on over there. So definitely check him out as well. Ickycan, Ickycan, up in Canada, is another really good channel. Follow him. He's going to be building this year. It's going to be very, very cool. And when you go there, guys, just say, hey, Prepper Nurse 1 sent me. And, so Sean James up in Canada as well with My Self-Reliance. Very great channel. Awesome builder. Fun to watch. Doug and Stacy's another good channel. Southern Prepper 1. Alaska Prepper. So many good channels out there. Wrangle Star, I like him too. Obviously, Marfugal News out on the West Coast, another one. So there's a whole bunch of channels out there. So I just want to give them all a quick shout out really quickly. And, definitely don't cough, Ed, you will be deemed with the C. Yeah, right. That's funny. But, yeah, angry prepper is a pissa. He keeps it real. Yes, he does. And that's what I like him. I like the guy. Straight up, no screwing around. And I respect that. I have more respect for that than people that are wishy-washy and don't say it like it is. But so a couple of things really quickly. I talked about this before. I am going to Sturgis this year. Okay, and so I definitely want to see if anybody wants to meet up along the way and drive out with us. If you're interested, again, shoot me an email and at preppernurse1 at yahoo.com. And, we'll meet you along the way when we go. When we get all the details done, I'll let everybody know. What I'm thinking about doing, since I am going to be out that way, I was thinking for anybody out in those areas that it would be too far to come to New York for a prepper get-together. I was thinking of possibly doing a prepper get-together out there when I'm out there. So we can figure, oh yeah, Pinball Preparedness is another good channel. Yep, absolutely. So I like him too. I like what he's doing. So definitely give him some support as well. But again, I'm thinking of getting a prepper get-together when I'm out there at Sturgis. So if you would be interested in possibly meeting out there in that area someplace, let me know. And we'll see what we can set up and where we can set that up and what we can do. I think it would be a lot of fun, and it would be really cool to meet everybody, out on the West Coast and out in those areas that couldn't travel all the way to New York for a prepper get-together. So I think that would be really, really neat. So let me know what you think about that. Again, shoot me an email if you would be interested in doing that. Okay, and we'll see what we can do. Because if I'm going to be out there, why not? I think it would be really, really neat. So, maybe I will talk to Magic Prepper and maybe we can do something jointly because I know he's in North Dakota. So that might be something that we might be able to do together. That would be kind of neat. Okay. So definitely let me know about that. So I want to thank my moderators who do a absolutely fantastic job keeping the chat clean. So thank you guys for that. I do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Also, I want to thank all you guys for being here because obviously without you guys here, we wouldn't be doing these streams. So I do appreciate you guys being here for the streams. Also, again, remember, we are all in this together. That is important to remember. We are one race called the human race. As soon as we can get past all the BS that they're letting us perpetuatingly, constantly in the news, keeping us fighting each other over race, religion, and politics, we need to work together. We need to come together. So let's try to do that, okay? Also, remember to hug and kiss the one you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really, really important to tell the people that we care about every day how we feel. All right. Last but not least, STD. Step, thing, and day. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one that is going to stop you from reaching your goals is you. Nobody else can stop you. Work methodically at whatever you're trying to do, and you can do it. All right. So anyway, be good, guys. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Sorry that once again, for third time in a row, they interrupted the stream right in the middle of it. It really pisses me off. It really does. But what are you going to do? So anyway, I will see you all later. Have a great night. Prepper Nurse One out for now.